massive move by the Toronto Maple Leafs to go get Darren Raddysh from the Tampa Bay Lightning before he hits the free agent market on July 1. I'm giving it a B+, a solid B+, because of the season that Raddysh had last year. I get he's 30 years old and you give him an 8-year extension, but because you're able to give him that 8-year, maybe the annual cap hit is a little lower than you would have expected at $8.5 million. I think that's a very solid number moving forward. And when you have to see with Darren Raddysh is the offense that he's brought last season. Yes, he was put in an opportunity to play more offense without Victor Hedman in the lineup for a big part of the season. So you're playing top pair, you're playing top power play. But he had 22 goals. That's a big number. The last time the Toronto Maple Leafs had a 22-goal defenseman is Al Arfredi in 87-88. He had over 70 points. 10 of those 22 goals were on the power play. There's only one Leaf defenseman in the history of the Leafs that has had over 10 power play goals in a season, and that's Bryan McCabe. He's done it twice. So you're looking at the offense from Darren Raddysh, and it's exactly what the Leafs needed. Look, they didn't have a good year from the back end last year. We all know Morgan Rielly, but everybody else offensively from the back end really didn't step it up. And now you're bringing in somebody that can fill in that need. Yes, you're going to have to continue giving them top power play minutes and play them 23 minutes a game. But the good side of Darren Raddysh, albeit from being the offense, is that he controls the game. You look at all the metrics, the defensive metrics, the overall metrics with Raddysh. He was top 3 in shot attempts shares last year as a defenseman in the National Hockey League at 61%. So when he's on the ice, 61% of the shots that are taken are for his team. So that's control, that's possession, that's everything. And he was top 5 in goals share percentage last season, so at 57%. So, you're looking at a higher, almost 60% of the time when he's on the ice, the goals are for his team. So that is important, because we're not just looking at the offense when it comes to Darren Raddysh. We're also looking at the overall game and something that he can bring for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He would have been #1 on the Leafs defense when you look at all the metrics last year by a mile. He would have been ahead of everybody. And really, you don't have to just look at last season, which was fantastic. But when you look at the overall metrics of Darren Raddysh, he has been really good throughout his whole career, above 53% in Corsi percentage and everything. Now, he was given that opportunity last year. And can he duplicate that? That's what everybody's saying right now. Can he duplicate what he did last season? And I really feel like it's not a flash in the pan. Now, will it be the same for 8 years? Obviously, when you get to your mid-30s, the play drops a little bit. But I think that the Leafs are being aggressive. They're being aggressive now with the cap space that they have to try to fill in the gaps and the holes that they have in their lineup. And Darren Raddysh is going to come in and fill that gap on the blue line. Now, obviously, last year was a fantastic year. So now, if you're the Leafs, you're hoping you're getting even 80% of what Raddysh was able to do last year, and that will get you where you want to be. So I give it a B+ when I look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that they've been aggressive over the last few days. They look for their needs, and their needs right now was on the blue line to be able to fill in a hole, a gap that they didn't have, and Darren Raddysh is going to be able to do that. But more importantly, they're saying, we want to win. This is not going to be a wait-and-see type of year. We're saying we want to win, we want to be competitive again, and that's the direction that the Leafs have taken in the last few days.